What's up, guys? I'm Cody.
And I'm Scott.
And we are the Dudes of Cinema. And today we're going to be reviewing The Hateful Eight, the eighth film written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, with a great score done by Ennio Morricone.
This film also has a great cast with likes of Samuel L. Jackson, Kurt Russell, and a whole bunch of well-known actors. Honestly, this is a great cast.
It really is. It's a great cast, great movie. Tarantino's done it again. He's pretty much hit a home run with this movie.
Every time.
Every single time. His movies are always great. They're always unique. I mean, he kind of doesn't really care with his writing too. He's really out there with his writing.
He does not give.
He does not. He doesn't give a flying fuck. I love all the scenes. I mean, even when two people are talking, it's just a great movie.
It is.
But I mean, like,
honestly, that's what his movies sometimes kind of like rely on, is like the dialogue.
Yeah, the dialogue. I mean, his films. All of his films have great dialogue.
And not even to mention that his films have great action. So
yeah, exactly. So it's kind of has best of both worlds.
Honestly.
Perfect balance. So in this review, we're just gonna be going over some things that we liked, some things we didn't like. I mean, there isn't very many things that we didn't like, because it was a really good movie. It really had like an old school vintage feel to it.
Yeah, it
like,
did.
The way it was shot.
Yeah, like the way it had the overture.
Yeah, the overture.
Supposedly the intermission, but our showing didn't get it.
Yeah,
Apparently there was two versions of the film.
Yeah, I was reading an article online, and it said that there was two different versions of the movie released. The version that was released first was the one that had the overture and the intermission, and then the version that we saw that came out a little bit later still had the overture, but it didn't have the intermission. I think it was only like a 6-minute difference or something, so it wasn't like that much of a difference.
But it was cool because it had that overture and it had the
the score was so good.
The score was cool. It really had that. It had that old school and that Quentin Tarantino feel.
Yeah.
And it really it made the film really like unique, and it was cool. Like I really liked it.
The thing about Quentin Tarantino movies is that they kind of follow like the similar formula in terms of structure, like the way the film, like the movies are structured. But I mean, the way Tarantino presents it, and like the characters, the dynamic between the characters, like, and just there's so many little things that he adds to it to just make it unique each time. Like,
even if it's just like little subplot points, little pieces of dialogue that maybe you hear, maybe you see something later in the film. It's kind of like foreshadowing, but it's like his own kind of foreshadowing,
Yeah,
it's really weird, but that's the thing. He's so good at it.
Yeah, like because his movies aren't always like necessarily like linear, like in storyline it'll like jump back in time and things like that. So it kind of helps piece it together. To me, this movie kind of reminded me of like an old Western version of Reservoir Dogs.
I can see that
because it took place in like one location. All these strangers are in this cabin, and then something happens. And they're also, which makes them all suspicious of each other. The performances in this movie were fantastic as well, which that really just helped. I mean, Tarantino always gets the great. Like his actors always give a great performance.
Always, like Kurt Russell. I mean, the two that really stand out to me are like Kurt Russell
and Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel Jackson was like the big one.
My favorite character.
He has. We won't spoil anything, but there's many pieces of dialogue by many characters, but there is like one piece of dialogue from him. I won't spoil anything.
It's a monologue.
It's great. It's great.
It's a great monologue. It was a great scene.
It really was.
This movie's so funny too. Quentin Tarantino is so great with humor, like the bag scene in Django Unchained, for example. Like that, little scenes like that. It's like the most simple concept, but it just makes the funniest scene. Yeah. And like there were a lot of parts that had me like really laughing in this movie. I mean, it was hilarious. There's not as much action in this movie. It is really character driven, and I think each character does have like good character development. There's very diverse cast in terms of like who their characters are.
When he has to do the action and all that, all the gore and all the blood and whatnot, it looks so good.
It looks so real.
That's what's so good. Like his effects and all, it makes his movies look so good, and it really gives it that special, unique feel to his movies.
It really does. Like Quentin Tarantino is really good with the violence, and like I'm gonna elaborate on that because like I said, there's not as much violence in this movie, but when there is, it's amazing.
It's good.
It's really gory and awesome. It's like what Quentin Tarantino fans love to see.
Absolutely.
And I mean, like like I said, just the whole movie was a really well-rounded movie. The story was told very well. It was pieced together very well.
It was.
There's only a few flaws that I personally had with it. One of them was like I did feel it was a little bit slow paced at times.
Yeah.
Like I felt like the movie could have been a little bit shorter and it still would have been amazing.
Because I mean, not even the fact that it's too long. It's just that just not many people can sit through a 3-hour movie. It's
and Tarantino really takes his time telling his stories. He doesn't rush it. He really like spends his time with every detail in terms of like the elements of the story. So, and that really shows in this movie. It ends in typical Tarantino fashion.
Yeah.
It is a really good third act.
Yeah, it is kind of Tarantino-ish in the way it ends.
Yeah.
I let that's all I'll really say, but it was just, it's a Tarantino movie. Everyone's going to see it. It's a good freaking movie, guys.
I agree. It's all about the execution. And the way he executes it with each movie, like I said, it just makes it unique in its own way.
Like there was something that happened kind of prematurely in the movie that I was kind of left a bad taste in my mouth.
There was a really random casting.
I'm sure when all the, in the beginning, when the overture's going and they're reading off the cast in the beginning, you'll probably see the name and you're gonna
you'll see who it is. And I saw who it was and I was like, wait a minute.
And then like it happened in the movie and I was like, yeah, this is pretty.
The actor does well, but it's a very random casting, kind of threw me off a little bit. But I mean, overall, I really liked The Hateful Eight.
It was a really good
film.
Had
a great story. All the performances in the movie were excellent. Even Tim Roth was in this movie too. He did amazing.
Yeah,
Samuel L. Jackson was honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he's nominated for an Oscar for this movie because he was fucking amazing.
He was great.
Kurt Russell did really well. He was badass and he had a lot of great pieces of dialogue.
He did. A lot of them did, honestly.
Yeah, has a typical Tarantino humor, typical Tarantino violence. Just beside the flaws of it was a little bit slow paced at times and with the random casting and like he said, something that happens prematurely in the movie. Overall, just a great Tarantino movie. I can't wait to see what this guy does next. So with that, I'm gonna give The Hateful Eight a 9 out of 10. What about you, Scott? What do you rate this movie?
I'm gonna give The Hateful Eight an 8.8. No pun intended.
8.8. No fucking pun intended.
In the next few days, we're going to be having our Revenant review. We're going to be seeing it this weekend. And
we're planning to have it up before the weekend ends.
That way you'll get that nice little treat on Sunday.
Yeah, I wish we could have saw it earlier, but we didn't get the limited release.
Yeah, it's okay. So, we'll definitely have that up as soon as we can. But, like, subscribe, and we are the Dudes of Cinema.